Hello, viewing public. It's Gab and Dad. Here we are again. This time we are reviewing the movie Blue Valentine. Gabrielle, would you like to tell us what this movie is about?
Blue Valentine is a portrait of a young marriage falling apart, told in two time periods. The present of the young married couple played by Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams with a young daughter, and cutting back to the past, 5 or 6 years earlier perhaps, when they were first meeting and falling in love. Intercut in order to juxtapose and potentially explain or allude to why this marriage has gotten to this point of sadly
Collapse.
Failure.
I have mixed feelings about this film. And on the one hand, I recognize the powerfulness and perhaps even accuracy of the depiction of kind of subtle human relationships and emotions. It's very, well, I think you've said to me privately, it's almost like a documentary. It has a kind of documentary quality to it. This is how it is.
In technique of the filmmaking,
but also,
and also
in the way the message is delivered.
Performance and subject matter.
So I recognize the powerful way in which it delivers an important depiction of something that a lot of people have experienced. And secondly, I think the acting by Ryan Gosling, the husband, and Michelle Williams, the wife, is excellent. I mean, it's very convincing, the kind of emotional mill that they go through.
Of the characters and,
yes.
and their relationship.
Yes.
Interestingly, apparently the director had the two actors live together in the house where they
That'll do it.
for a month before filming.
So all of that is good, but on the other hand, I said I had ambivalent feelings. On the other hand, this film is not exactly what you'd call entertaining. It's like watching a documentary about some great natural disaster in which millions were killed. I mean, you don't walk out of it and say, yeah! I mean, it's...
Unlike Transformers,
unlike Transformers. So in that sense, it's not a great film to go and see. By the way, it's certainly not a date night film. Do not go and see this film with someone you are thinking of getting married to. Better to see that film Plan B about artificial insemination. That would be a better date night. Backup. That would be a better date night movie. So you leave the movie theater saying, "Oh God," and if anybody asks for a recommendation as to a film to see, I don't think this is the one I'd send them to. But I recognize its excellence in many respects.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I have a hard time putting my finger on how I feel about this film as well. I was extremely engaged, primarily because of the performances, which are wonderful, and the subject matter, which any young adult or adult of any age who has been in a marriage or a long-standing relationship similar to marriage, they're painful possibilities of relating to what goes on and sort of the why of it all. What I appreciated about this story is there was no great tragedy with this couple. He doesn't beat her. She didn't cheat on him. There was no red flag where that's the reason why. No simple answers. They present lots of things about the background of the characters, which are little sort of seeds that could be possible explanations.
Do you think this marriage collapsed, or do you think it was doomed from the beginning?
Well, that's, I think, the main question, because of the way that it's set up in showing the origins. That's done for a specific reason. It's to try to trace what happened since, or else it would just show you what's happening currently.
But in some ways, and
I don't have an answer to that.
I mean, the central question here is why did this marriage fail? I mean, for what? As you said, there's no obvious reason.
There is no answer. That's what's so heartbreaking about it. Because in some scenes, you can almost think, the audience, as a viewer, you want to comfort yourself, like, oh, they look happy enough. They look kind of normal. Like, I don't really understand. Why is this movie about them breaking up? And then it's those other little things that are thrown in where it's the fissures, and that's what's so real about it and so sad, but that's also why we feel ambivalent, because there's nothing clear-cut about it.
And there's that devastating line towards the end when Michelle Williams, the wife, says to the husband, "I can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
And I can't do this anymore.
And that's not, you know, earth-shattering script writing,
No.
because that line is spoken in houses around the world every day.
Well, but that's the power of the line.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the power of the line.
Yeah.
It's a line that everybody will understand and many will recognize.
But it's also a romantic movie in many ways. Another line that stuck out for me was when he says to her, "I couldn't drive you crazy unless you loved me."
Yes.
And you want to see those, you do see those moments with this couple, and that's what sort of really drew me into this story, was those beautiful moments, and then there's the sad moments, and it's all just this jumble, and you leave feeling ambivalent, because it's a very well done film, but you don't really know how to feel about the story, which is its strength. But as an entertaining movie,
I must say, we went on a Saturday afternoon. It was packed.
it was packed. It just opened in limited
People
release.
are turning out to see this movie. I mean,
There's been a lot of buzz
it's
about
talking to people about saying something to people.
Yeah, and I think that it's a wide demographic. As I said, if you've in a relationship, I've been married for 11 years. You've been married a few times. I think.
Beg your pardon.
Well, it's true. There's a lot to be said about relationship and human quality, and the concept of love and family and what takes precedence, and there are no easy answers. So this is not a spoon-fed.
So would you recommend? Would you tell your friends to go see this film?
I probably would. To my contemporaries where we struggle with our relationships, I would probably say it's worth seeing. Going to the theater. It's not a popcorn flick.
No, this past week I've seen 4 films. I've seen Barner's Version, The King's Speech, True Grit, and Blue Valentine. And the way I would put it is, Blue Valentine is the best of those 4 films, but the last one I'd recommend.
The least entertaining. Interesting. Well, it definitely has some important qualities to it, but is not maybe the top of your queue if you just want some escapism.
Yeah.
How many dads?
I think I would have to give it 4, just recognizing the excellence of it in several respects. So 4 dads.
I'm having trouble. I'm vacillating between 4 and 3 3/4.
Split the difference, 3 7/8.
Okay, 3 7/8 Gabs. Talk about making things difficult. Blue Valentine.
Blue Valentine deserves to be taken seriously, but not necessarily to be seen.
Like Gab and Dad. Unlike Gab and Dad.
Like Gab Dad. Which should be seen but not taken too seriously.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.